Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all everywhere. I am Tanetta Marie, and I am going to be talking about attitude and coping with emotions. How there are a lot of things in attitude that I talk about, but coping with the emotions and how your attitude should be. And bottom line is just really renewing the mind. And so, past hurt can definitely change your attitude about life. Childhood trauma, relationships, school trauma. I remember once in school being teased by a bunch of kids. Those things, they're with you for a while. Even the peers in your neighborhood, being traumatized. The kids might beat you up. And in today's society, they're posting everything. So, public humiliation from friends, family, whatever. There's so much going on that could really attack our emotional state of things. And so, if we don't get these past hurts and traumas taken care of and deal with them, we're going to create cycles. And these cycles are known as like generational curses, where, my father could be very, very cruel. And do I take that into my next relationship? And do I take that into my children? And because of that, now my children learn learn those particular skills, those bad habits of how to deal with the emotions of things. And so my dad didn't really know how to deal with emotions, and a lot of people don't. A lot of males especially don't know how to deal with emotions because especially in our society, our men are told don't cry, don't be a, I can't say that, but yeah. And so don't be a panooch. Is that okay? Don't oh real men don't cry, and they don't wear pink, and they don't do this. And there's so many rules about men where it challenges their manhood, that they can't just be a man. God made you with emotions. You can cry. um, you can assert yourself and still be a man. I mean, you can have emotions and still assert yourself and still have everything. For my philosophy, real men cry. Because if you don't cry, I'm kind of disconnected from it, because I have real emotions, and I want to connect with you. And if you can't cry with me, and that goes for relationships, my sons, my family, my male friends, my whatever. It's like, be there, and so, and the same goes for women who are now like a little harder, like, I don't need that. Yeah, we do. We need those, and it's okay to cry. And y'all should know, I hate crying. And I hate crying because I hate my nose getting all stuffy and sinuses. It just, I will like be mad about the fact that I can't breathe. Like, I want to cry, but I can't breathe. And it could be psychologically that's what's happened to my physiological body, because maybe psychologically I'm thinking, I don't want to cry, right? And so those triggers of feeling those physical triggers are like, oh, I don't have to cry, But nevertheless, moving forward, when we have emotions that we're not really dealing with, or when we're suppressing, what has happened to us. For instance, I know that I'm getting ready to make the video about the testimony of my father, of the harsh things. He humiliated me a lot. He belittled me a lot. And I grew up with hearing those things. And I knew he loved me, but he didn't know how to love. And if y'all know me, y'all know that I'm a big proponent of people learn what they're groomed into, their environments, their relationships with their parents or whoever raised them, or whatever the neighborhood, whatever the culture was. People learn. They're as smart as they are because of what they learn. They're as ignorant as they are because of what they learn. They're as intelligent or lack thereof. They love because of what they were exposed to, or they can't love because of what they were exposed to. They don't know how to love. I'm a big proponent of that, and I definitely don't. I definitely think that there should be reasons why people do the things that they do. I am also a big fan of the movie. I'm a believer, so I'm a big fan of the movie The Shack. And I'm a big fan of this movie because I don't want to be a spoiler, but this young man has some issues with his father, and he has guilt that he grows into with his father over those issues. And it's not until he goes into his journey that he learns the past of his father. It is a generational curse. It is a cycle that's being repeated. That although he didn't like the things that his father did, and he didn't exactly become his father, how he handled those things it wasn't a healthy situation to his family. And so it took something very traumatic for him to get to the place to understand, one, who God was, and two, understanding his father and understanding who he is. So it can get kind of slow at some point, but it's an excellent movie. Get some popcorn and some drink that's going to excite you. Soda pop, Mountain Dew, whatever makes you happy. And that was not a commercial. I'm just saying. But nevertheless, if you don't deal with these past hurts, the emotions that you have are either going to be inward or outward expressed. And if they're inward expressed, what's going to happen are people are going to see you with some anxiety or maybe some depression or in a funk, and you just don't know what the funk is. Like, oh, this person always has this like dark cloud hanging over them. There's always some kind of complication going on with them. They may be withdrawn. At the end of the day, I call this bondage. These are shackles. These are shackles that are holding you down. Like, you literally have this ball and chain that says, you know, I'm emotionally traumatized by this. Or maybe you got a whole bunch of them attached to your legs. And so you moving really, really slow in life because you're pulling this weight of all this emotional pain that you haven't dealt with. And it's showing in your depression. It's showing in your drug use, because now you have behaviors that are, maybe you're sexually promiscuous because it's how you express emotions, because your emotions aren't really matching, or you're violent, you're committing well, those are probably more of the outwards, but the inward expressions are really just more about how you're holding a lot of things inwards. And you could be even what we call the emotional, like you could be the volcano, where you're passive aggressive, where you just don't say things, and then when you finally do, your outwardness could be really, really volatile, just really bad, and it's going to affect your family, you, and the people around you, as with outward as well. Your outward emotions, you expressing those, it's going to come out. The impact is going to be harsh. You know, you're going to be bitter, a coward, a bully almost. You know, these are the people that talk really a lot of crap about people because they don't know how to deal with their own emotions, so they can talk about people. You know, like, they're trying to make themselves better because of what they've gone through, and they don't want to deal with that. And so you could be verbally abusive, emotionally, these could be physical abusive people. The outwardness is coming out where it's violent, or Both inward and alcohol and outwards could be abusing alcohol and drugs. They're trying to escape these emotions that they're feeling, and they're trying to keep them from becoming exposed. And so they could be totally angry. An inward person may be holding all the anger inside. Remember, I talked about that passiveness, aggressiveness, and when they let it out, it's like woo. And then this outward person could just be totally angry with you all the time. Like in the midst of an argument, you're talking about A, and then all of a sudden L comes into play, and you're like, what the crap? Where'd that letter come from? We're talking about this, but what's happening is that they have some deep rooted emotions going on, and then L came in, and you're like, I have no clue what you're talking about, right? And so in order to get over this, you really, really do have to seek some treatment one way or another, whether it be a spiritual counselor, hopefully a spiritual counselor that has some educational aspect of some education in mental health counseling, or just going to see a mental health counselor, a psychologist, a licensed professional, a marriage family therapist. Please find some help. I'm just going to give you a little bit of what to do, because I really encourage you to find the help. And so you must renew the mind. You cannot be shackled with this pain. You cannot hide from it. It's going to expose itself, and you're going to lose relationships. You're going to lose family relationships, intimate relationships, children, your friends. Sometimes your friends need to just back up and kind of let you do you, because they have limitations with you. They have certain boundaries. Family members, there are certain boundaries with family members that I have, and there are certain boundaries that family members have with me, like, ooh, that's the space that I need to keep. But if you're this toxic, then you're going to feel it, and you're just going to keep repeating the cycle of the things that you disliked in your own family, in your own situation. But you don't even recognize that you're doing it. You're throwing the hate, and you throwing shade at whoever did you dirty, but you're doing the exact same thing. So we got to get a hold of that, because and you're mirroring it, and you don't even recognize that if somebody told you that you were doing it, you'd become hostile and angry again. Whether you explode outwards or you did it inwards. Say for instance, if you're in a relationship and your partner says, hey, I'm watching you, and you're acting like your mom, you're acting like your dad, and you, what? Oh, that's a trigger for me. How dare you say that? And then you start going off just like that person. The person who's eating it all is going, man, I really wish you could see this. Like, let me record it for you. Let me record you. Because they really want you to see that you're vibing this way, so that you can break the chain. You can break this cycle. And it's just, I can't encourage you more to get some help, because you really affect the people who love you. They love you a lot, especially if you're in a relationship, you're not married, and you're in this relationship, and they're tolerating things about you. They're trying to be there and stand in the gap for you. Like, let me help you through this. Don't lose something very precious and something so good for you when you have someone who's tolerating the situations and where you're at. If they're tolerating you, tolerate getting help. This is the best advice I could possibly give. I've lived through it. I've watched it with my parents. My mom tolerated a lot. And just know that you have support. So start by renewing the mind. And it just really means get out of your stinking thinking. Just because you think that way doesn't mean that it's right. And it means that if you've learned some really bad habits and trying to deal with your emotions, unlearn them. You have to take the steps to unlearn them. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you want to let your family and friends, loved ones know, hey, I'm working on this, don't use it as an excuse, but say, I'm working on it. Hold me accountable if I do something. You know, get a little notebook out. Get you a little pen pad and write every time. Man, I did that. I offended that person. You know, put it in your phone, record it. I offended that person today. This is what I'm going to do to change it. Or this is what I did. This is how I reacted. What can I do to change it? Tell yourself on the recording. Next time when that happens, I'm going to do this. And then listen to the recording. Like, don't just do it, or read the paper. If you wrote it, read the paper. If you put it in your notes in your phone, read it, reread it, so that it becomes your new habit, so that your thinking is no longer stinking, but healthy and refreshed. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you to do, is change your stinking thinking. Find some therapy that has some CBT, some cognitive behavior therapy that can teach you how to get out of that stinking thinking, that can teach you to change your behavior in positive ways. Gradually, it's not going to be a light switch. It won't be. The second thing, love yourself. You know, when people are, when we have these scars, and we get flawed up because of these scars, because we keep picking them. Let's just be real. We just keep picking them. So they're always there. When we have those situations, if we don't, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, please forgive me. I sit in front of a window, and so I get to see certain things, and I saw something, and I was trying to not, but nevertheless, let me move forward. We have to heal. And so part of the renewing is loving yourself. And so you have to have that self-love. You can't keep picking that scar and think like it's going to heal, and you keep picking it. So you have to, if you're like me, you don't really want to have a scar afterwards. You know, you want to add the moisturizer, the lotions that they give you, the creams that are healing it, and so that eventually it heals till you really can't see that there really was a scar there. And if there is some residual, so what? It's nice and smooth. It's just part of who you are. But you don't have this big lumpy scar that's there, that's a reminder, a constant reminder of, oh my goodness, remember when I fell off my skateboard and whatever. So you have to give yourself this self-love. You have to nurture your heart, your mind. You have to really say, let me learn how to love myself. Let me learn to have self-care. Let me make sure that I'm not escaping, but I'm embracing, you know. So be willing, the third, which goes into the third thing, be willing to tell the truth. You know what? I'm mean. You know, I'm not a really good person. And so because I can acknowledge I'm not a really good person and I want to be better, because I'm acknowledging it, I can change it. I can do the renewal. I can do the self-love, because I'm acknowledging I'm not where I really want to be. You know, and the harsher that we can be in our truth, is the easier we can get with saying, I'm no longer that person. You know, like, I'm not telling you to embrace it like someone telling you, oh, you're a piece of crap. I'm a piece of crap. That's not what I'm saying. Or maybe you did something, maybe you were a mother who was an addict and your kids are throwing it up in your face, and that happened 30, 40 years ago. And your grown kids are like, you know, oh, well, you treated me bad. I did. I really did. And I was that mother. But today, I stand strong in who I am. I'm not going to stay in that closet of who you think I am. Them skeletons in that closet, gone. I buried them. It's a wrap. Done. Or they're not quite buried, but I'm working on them. You know, yeah, I'm clean, but I'm still working on my psyche. I'm still working on my mentality. So because I'm working on my mentality, you know, you got me there. You got me. That's who I was. But today, you know, and my mentality is still there from who I was. But today, I'm working on it. And if they're fussing, well, yesterday you did so and so, you right. And I work on it every day. And today is a new day. And every day is a new opportunity to start anew. So those three things, just renew the mind, get out of your stinking thinking, you know, heal yourself, give yourself some self-love, and acknowledge who you are, who you were, and who you're going to be. Give yourself the credit for who you're going to be, who you're growing into. So that's my spill for today. That's my attitude. And be willing to be open to new things, new ideas, new love, new expressions of it. Be willing. I forgot about that one. But definitely be willing. You can't say you want love, you want happiness, you want these things, but you're not willing to open up to accept it, to get it, to give it back. Trust yourself enough to give it back. So what if you reach out and you and your kid are vibing, and then all of a sudden your kid goes, I'm not feeling this. I don't want to be in this relationship no more. See you later, bye. Honestly, you didn't do it for your kid. You did it for you. So if you're in a relationship and you're like, okay, I'm going to be a better boyfriend. I'm going to be a better girlfriend. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to be a better wife. I'm going to be better at what I'm doing. Okay. And then if it falls apart, you didn't do it for them. You were a better girlfriend. I'm a better girlfriend for me. It changed my life. And if we fell apart, that means that I'm a better girlfriend for the next better man. Does that make sense? Because it means that I'm a better person to choose differently. I'm a better person to argue differently. I don't want to scream to the top of my head. For me, I was passive aggressive. I don't want to be passive aggressive. I want to share my feelings with you now. I don't want to hold on to them. I'm healed from that. So I'm a better person. I live better. I make better choices. Do I still make mistakes? Am I still going to have those times where, yeah, we all do. Nobody's perfect. We still have a little scarring left from that. So we still have a little flaws. We're not perfect. But what we are, we're striving to be perfect. And striving to be perfect makes us perfect, right? It makes us perfect. Now, don't be arrogant and narcissistic about that. Like, yeah, I'm this. No, work on that crap, okay? And so even though we're in our perfection, we work in it every single day. It's easier in the work that we do. Sometimes we don't even know we're doing the work because it just becomes natural. All right, now that's really all that I have for you. Remember to renew, have some self-love, be able to acknowledge those things, be open to love, open to receiving it and giving it, willing to change, and be willing to work it. Work that work. It ain't going to be no fairy tale. It's not going to just happen. And those people who say, oh, if it's going to be hard, then it's not natural. You don't know what natural is, because this is the life we live. All right. So I wish you the best. And I hope this helps somebody changing their attitude and coping with the emotions. I love you much, to the moon and back.